Welcome back, guys, to another edition of the Mostly Movies podcast with Nick and Christian. He's Nick, I'm Christian. And before we get into a fun, fulfilled hour, I don't know how we're going to do it today.
We'll do it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We haven't been on the mic in 2.5-3 weeks. Feels like an eternity.
I know.
There's plenty to talk about.
Was it the first week of Christmas?
First week.
I'm sorry.
That's not a thing. Yes, I think it was the first week of December. That's how long Christmas feels these days. It feels like it lasts a month.
I feel well. Okay, before we get into that, head on over to thescreengods.com for all of our Nick's latest movie reviews and quite the catalog, I would say, of podcasts on there now. I think we
are building. Yeah, we've got several on there now. And several reviews. Reviews? Are you talking about the pods or the reviews?
Pods.
Well, both. We are. I think this actually might be our 10th episode. This one we're about to do. I'd have to
really
double check that. But yeah, that's a cause for celebration. We're going to be talking a little Nosferatu today, which don't know. I think it's German. But we'll find out. Maybe Christian knows.
I don't. I'll spoil it. I don't. But we're gonna find out together here. Yeah, so Robert Eggers, do you know his other movies? Are you familiar with his work?
I'm not familiar with his work. I am familiar with Bram Stoker, who is the original author of the Dracula, the original book Dracula from, I think it was the 1800s or something. I mean, I was just looking this up. 1897 is when that book came out, the original Dracula book.
Did you read it?
I did not read it. But there's a movie made, I think in 1992, and I did see that, but I could not tell you anything about it now. It was just too long ago. I was only 9 years old.
Okay, so he obviously took some elements from that book. Is that what we're getting at here?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so it sounds like Bram Stoker was the inspiration for a silent film, 1922, by the same name. So there's a silent film called Nosferatu, somebody named F.W. Murnau, which, by the way, quick side note, I love how in the 1900s and 1800s, like everyone had initials as their names, which was crazy. It's like R.C. Willie. It's just like, F.T. Dobson. Like, it's we don't hear that anymore, And if they do have initials now, you just think they're a douchebag, like JT or something like that.
Were they? So the initials stood for something, or their names were just initials?
No, it stood for something. No, it stood for something, but they just went by the initials. Like this guy's name, the silent film Nosferatu from 1922. His actual name is Friedrich Wilhelm Murnau, which spoiler, Friedrich is one of the main characters. So he put himself in the movie apparently.
Yeah, I would.
Anyway,
I would shorten that thing up too.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's too long.
So anyway, that's what this is. It's a remake, actually, of a silent film, but it was inspired. The original silent film was inspired by Bram Stoker's book. So
if you look up, there's a famous meme from the Count Orlok from the 1922 film, I believe. If I can find it, it was also in SpongeBob too. No, I know, but. So that's where I've only seen that from that movie, but yeah. So Robert Eggers, yeah.
You killed me.
Other than that, I knew nothing about this movie.
Did you go?
Other than that, it was a vampire movie.
You mean Dracula movie / vampire? I guess is it a vampire? I guess it is.
Yeah,
he is a vampire. He is a vampire.
Dracula's just a different vampire, right?
He's just the Dracula. He's a classy.
Wait,
he's a classy vampire.
He's the main. He's the queen bee.
I don't know. He's the
main vampire.
Just no one calls him that though. They just say he's a Dracula. I've never you don't really call him a vampire, but I guess he's definitely.
I think that was his name
by definition.
I think it was
Dracula is his name.
Dracula.
Yeah, Count Dracula.
Yeah, he was a count.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It says right here, Dracula is a vampire. So we've got that dialed in now. But when you think of modern day vampires, you think of like, they look like freaks. Like I think of what's that movie with Will Smith, pre-slap Will. That's what I think of when I think of vampires. I am
I'm
Legend.
Legend. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think of a butler with a cloak walking around with gel in his hair, which is what Dracula is. Anyway, so I didn't know anything about this movie at all, other than here was the extent. Christian hit me up. What are we going to see this week? I said, what do you want to see? I was like, the only thing I think it might be Nosferatu or Mufasa, which we could have seen Mufasa, but we could see that not in theaters. The only thing I knew about this movie was that William Dafoe was in it. That's it. That's all I knew. I don't know anyone else in it. I didn't know it was a vampire movie. I could kind of guess that it was somewhat of a I guess we'll call it a horror, sort of. It's like more suspense, I think, than anything. But that's all I
You
knew.
didn't
What
get
did you know?
you didn't get vampire from the trailer?
I didn't watch the trailer.
You saw the trailer.
Nope.
Definitely did.
Well, I saw the trailer at
it was
previous
in several movies. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I black out a lot during the previews, unless it's like
You just blacked out right
actually,
now.
that's not true. That's not true. No, the previews we saw in the movies weren't really. There wasn't much to them. It was like wide shots of the city, black, dark, and some guy in a shadow. Like there was not a single scene of blood being sucked at all. So no, I didn't know. I didn't know. And then they hit you with this at the end, Nosferatu, and that was it. That was the whole trailer.
Yeah, I guess it didn't.
So
I guess I probably had to have known. Maybe that's why to me. But
yeah,
the trailer was intriguing, though. It was good, and I really like Robert Eggers did the Witch. You probably haven't seen it.
I've seen that. I'm not familiar with Robert Eggers' work. Talk to me.
Yeah, it's not. He only has a few movies. The Northman. He did The Lighthouse with William Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, which was a pretty weird fucking movie too.
So he's got a thing for Dafoe.
Definitely, he's definitely got a thing for Dafoe. I mean, who doesn't? But yeah, he'll probably be in all his movies going forward. And then Nosferatu, and a couple older
I'm looking
ones,
at all of his list here, which, like you said, is not extensive. He's young. He's my age. He's like 41 years old. Young cat.
Yeah, he's only been, and then the main character in The Witch, it was the guy who played the doctor in Nosferatu.
Okay.
He used so he likes to use obviously repeat actors, and but yeah, I just I thought it was I like how it was shot. I like how it was. Sometimes the black and white didn't bug me that much because it switched over to color every now and then, which I thought was cool. But yeah, I wasn't blown away. I will say that. And it got really good reviews. The cast is really good. You got Nicholas Hoult, Lily Rose Depp, William Dafoe, Aaron Taylor Johnson, who plays Frederick or whatever, who was pretty funny. He was making me laugh.
He's Craven, right? Which we just did our last. I was like, why does this guy look so familiar? He looks a lot different with a top hat and a silk scarf.
and mutton chops. Everybody had chops in this movie.
Everybody had chops, dude. I know Jamie was like, what? Like she was asking me. My wife was like, ask me about it, and I'm like, I don't remember. I don't know when it takes place. I just know there's top hats and mutton chops, dude.
I think it's supposed to be like 1830s because I think
Hunters for sure.
I was reading up on it, like 1830s. But yeah, I didn't like. It was hard to understand William Dafoe. It was you really couldn't understand what the hell Dracula was saying, or Orlok.
Or Nosferatu. Which one is his name? That's where I'm most confused. I don't know. Is he Orlok? Is he?
Give Nosferatu a Google for me while you're over there.
Yeah, I'm on it already.
Oh, okay.
What's up? What do you want to know?
It doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything.
Or is that just another one of his names?
I think we're gonna have to actually Google what that means. I had the movie. I didn't know you wanted me. Okay, dude, we should have seen this coming. It's a Romanian word that literally means vampire.
All right, great.
So that's just his, but it's Transylvania. What this stuff, it fascinates me how, like, Transylvania in Eastern Europe, this mythical vampire, that's where it always is, right? Transylvania and like that, whatever. That sounds like a made up place because I think of Adam Sandler every time. but like,
I couldn't find it. I couldn't point it out on a map.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's real. I don't know where it is, but it's like, it's East Germany or something. But they have how everyone has like their superstitions, and that's what it says. Like it's the vampires and all that stuff are such a big deal over there in Germany and
They're
Romania and Transylvania. It's
yeah,
strange.
they're fucking terrified.
Yeah, they're scared over there.
They are fucking terrified, dude. It's imagine growing up on that as a kid. I mean, they're scary enough just as an American, but
Yeah,
yeah, they probably had
yeah,
some real like fucked up local tales over there too that they were passing around, just
that's what I'm
scaring
saying.
every kid.
It's kind of interesting just to think about how things are still there. And I mean, I do find it fascinating because we're in 2024 now. We're 100 years later, and it's still kicking, dude. The superstition's still going.
Dude, imagine being a kid
Nuts.
or being a kid over there trying to sleep and your nightlight starts flickering. You're fucking you start getting cold sweats.
You just have your crazy uncle just in the yeah. Well, so keep talking. It was hard to understand a lot. I think.
And they had subtitles for the vampire in the very beginning and then just said no more of that. We don't need it. Really,
Well, they brought it back multiple times whenever he would
but
speak.
for like
But for
one, well,
nah, this is like
not the
two
whole
or three
time he
more
was
scenes.
speaking though.
No, not
It would
no.
just
You're
be
right
like
about that.
it would
It
just
was
be
they were
certain
very
words.
select moments. Yeah, it was very select moments that they wanted you to read. Apparently,
Yeah, so I couldn't understand a fucking word he was saying, and that probably would have helped out a lot just to know what was going on. There was just a lot of things that plot holes, but fucking Bill Skarsgård.
scars.
I
Scars.
mean, he's Scotchgard, Bill Scotchgard. He's unbelievable.
It's pretty
A,
good.
and any mythical fucking villain or whatever you need him to play, he will fucking get into it.
Dude, there was a scene in this movie. So this girl asked me today on my way out. She's like, I told her I was going to see me. She's like, when are you going to see? So I told her, and she's like, is that the one with the Pennywise guy? And I was like, I don't think so. I think it's because in my head, I just had William Dafoe in my head. I didn't know that Skarsgård. So then I looked it up. I'm like, oh yeah, it is that guy. There's a scene where Nosferatu, aka Count Chocula, Count Orlok, he stands up, and the way he's standing and looking at the camera is exactly the Pennywise. It's the same exact Pennywise angle of the camera and everything. It was trippy, dude. I was like, this is weird, but yeah, he
Yeah,
killed it.
he's fucking sick. Their whole family too. You got Bill, Alex, the whole gang. Their dad.
It's a lot of, it's a lot of Scotch guard.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, I thought he was great. You know what though? We never saw his dong.
You know, you did. It was when he stood up. It was that, but it was very small. This is a weird segue. We should
I
probably
missed
preface
it.
way.
I missed it. I'm
Were you
disappointed.
there
I
when
missed it.
when he stood up in the coffin? Or did you go to
Yeah.
the bathroom or something?
No,
That's
no,
it.
no.
That was
When
he
when
stood up.
when Nicholas Holt first tried to kill him in the beginning,
Yes, yeah.
I
In that
missed
he
it.
stood up. He stood up really tall. That's the Pennywise look I was getting at. He stood up really tall in his I guess coffin.
Yeah,
And his, you could see, but it was in black and white. So you could, I mean,
he
it
was.
wasn't nothing
I didn't see
Christians
it,
would have
dude.
said. He didn't get
I missed
to
it.
see
I
it.
am. I was waiting for it, and it never hit.
Well, there's a story that goes with this. So if you haven't been paying attention out there on the social webs, like apparently he decided that he wanted to take the prosthetic that they used for his wiener, and you said he gave it to somebody else. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I saw that he gave it to Nicholas Holt.
That's so
That's
funny.
what I saw. Yeah, I think I think Nicholas Holt wanted it.
Jeez,
You can fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
prosthetic.
But yeah,
I'm
so I
sure
was waiting to see the Dracula dong, and I missed it. Yeah, so that's funny.
I
But
don't see it. And I don't want to search more dong language on my computer, so we'll just let that ride. Yeah. So anyway,
and then just
keep
like
going.
everyone was having a seizure, a fever dream. Like everyone just got back from Vietnam. It was just seizures everywhere.
So
Everyone getting infected, and yeah, I thought that was a little over too many possession scenes. I think.
yeah. So for
It got to be a little
context,
redundant.
if you don't really know what this movie's about, besides it just being about vampire or vampire dongs in this case, the point of this is it's actually the baseline, because I was confused for a while. I'm like, why is this vampire released? Like, what's happening? And this is where my contention with the film is I don't know if he's real or fake. I think he's real, but he only shows up in dreams, but then he's showing up in dreams, but then people are dying in real life. And then he's possessing people, then he's killing kids. But the whole thing is,
And
from what I
he wanted to move and make a career change.
Yeah, so quickly we'll run through the plot. So there's a old
Nicholas Hoult is a real estate agent.
He's a real estate. Yeah, he's trying to get into real estate in the 1800s, which is hilarious. Tough market.
I mean,
and
what
he had
better time?
Yeah, he get in while it's hot. And he had to do a 6-week journey by horseback and carriage through the mountains to deliver a deed for this count to sign. And apparently this count is an eccentric, and he's lives alone. He's a recluse. Yeah. But also he's a vampire. So
yes.
that's the thing.
And
he lives in a castle.
And they
like all counts apparently.
And when his boss gives him this assignment, he's so obvious about the fact that it's obviously a vampire. Like, they weren't shy about letting you know. Like, they're like the whole thing. Like, he's a count. He lives in a huge mansion in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Well, for all of us who know the story, we know it's a vampire. But poor Nicholas Hoult just thought he was going to see this old guy in a castle.
Well, the gypsies try to warn him too, but
they did. Yeah,
they got out of Dodge.
They're like, this guy's not listening.
They packed up their shit and they
even took his horse to prevent him from going. They're like, we're jacking his horse. He's not listening to reason. But anyway, so he does that, and there's this subplot. Basically, from what I can tell, man, this is a really crude way to explain it, but his wife, at some point in her teen years, got extremely lonely and extremely horny, and somehow, through her hormonal needs of touch, like I said, just a horny teenager, apparently this is the plot. I swear to God, this is no lies detected. She summoned this vampire. That's it. That's the foundation of the entire story of Nosferatu. Because I was even reading the pretext for reading the background of the silent film, and they're calling these movies sensual horror. That's what it is. Everybody. And Dracula, there's a lot
horned up.
Yeah, that's the whole movie. He's just horned up, and he's a disgusting beast creature. He doesn't look like any Dracula or vampire that you've ever seen. He looks like I don't even know what you would describe it as. He looks like acid melting Rumpelstiltskin. That's great. It's crazy.
Like mixed with like zombie kind of.
Yeah, and like he's huge
really.
Though, so he's kind of like the size of
Wolfman.
the aliens from The Quiet Place. Like he's huge, So it was a really weird, but actually that was my favorite part of the movie, to be honest, is his character, like his creature, because I thought that's super different. That's super unique. He looks like a disgusting, like
freak.
I don't know, just a freak, just a big giant disgusting freak.
Yeah, it looks like he was taking the substance too.
That's exactly what it looks like, but just huge. But this a tall substance. Yeah, that's a good way. Yeah. If you've seen the substance, if you haven't, go check out our review on that and see that movie.
A tiny hog on
him. It was so small you didn't see it.
And he's basically just cucking Nicholas Hoult the whole entire movie just by having virtual or like sex through like seances with his
he's
girl.
Reaching out to his wife through dream. What was that word you said? Cucking?
Yeah.
Don't just casually slip that in. I don't know what that is. What is that?
You don't know what cucking?
No. Cucking? I'm afraid to type it in.
No, don't type it in.
What is that?
It's when you get a guy to have sex with your wife and you watch.
Oh.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, no, I'm glad I don't know what that means. That's so funny. Well, yeah, so in this case, unforced cucking, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah.
Super weird. But yeah, that's the whole plot. So it's kind of funny. Like, you don't really know that until kind of towards the climax of the movie. You're like, so this was my conflict with the whole thing is like, she says he is her shame and guilt. So Okay, then that's symbolic, but he's also a vampire and he's also a real count. It's just my head was exploding. I'm like, I don't know if he's real or not. I can't tell, but people are dying.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I also didn't understand how the guy who owned the real estate agency, Nicholas Holt's boss, essentially, I don't understand how he got wrapped up into it because he lost his mind. I didn't
So, well, they
understand.
kind of touch on it really lightly. The other thing, sorry, we glossed over this. When Nicholas Holt, her husband, goes to visit the count, he pulls a Ursula on him from Little Mermaid, if you don't know, Little Mermaid reference, where she gets her to sign her voice away. Remember that whole thing where to become human?
Of
So
course.
she uses fine print and weird jargon to confuse Ariel. Same kind of thing here. So the count, he drafts
She
up this manuscript in his own language that Nicholas Hall clearly doesn't understand, but he wants this money. That's part of it. He wants this bag of gold because he's trying to create he's trying to create a life for him and his wife. So he just signs his name on this document he can't understand, which sold his soul, basically sold the rights to his wife to Count Orlok, aka Nosferatu. I bring this up because that's what happened with that other guy, Nicholas Holt's boss. They were looking for that's when they were searching his office.
Mhm.
They found the book, the covenant as they call it. So basically he just reaches out to people, and that's not explained, like you said, why he was reached out to at all.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming he did the same
There's a
things.
backstory.
He signed
Yeah,
he signed his life away or whatever.
yeah, but I don't know what for unless he was having sex with his wife too, because that's all Nosferatu's after.
Yeah, he was chasing tail, dude. The whole movie.
Sensual horror. That's
I
sensual
mean,
horror, a new genre. Well, it's not new. I guess it's been around because the original Bram Stoker's Dracula 2, Dracula that they made in 1992 was also a sensual horror.
92.
Like I said, yeah, in 92. I can't remember who was in that, but that was the same kind of thing. Not nearly as graphic, I don't think, as this, but anyway, keep
Yeah.
going.
And then even the way to defeat Nosferatu was pretty lame. I thought it was, super obvious. I don't want to give away the entire ending, but so that was kind of lame too. But yeah, he's basically just cucking Nicholas Holt, and especially at the end too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was also super dark too, which was all right, but um, I was getting sleepy for sure.
And we saw an early showing. We didn't imagine if we would have hit the 650 showing, we would be conked out.
Yeah, and halfway through it, I'm just like, I was starting to think, I'm like, when's the last time we saw a good movie?
The Substance is probably the last good one that we saw.
But that's what my girl said too.
Well, I'm sorry, Gladiator 2 was the
That
good
was
one that we saw.
that was good.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it now? Do you still
Which
feel it
one?
was just as good, Gladiator 2?
Yeah, I still feel good about it. I mean, I don't. It all depends on what you mean by that.
Because I saw a lot of,
Set
a
your
lot of people,
expectations accordingly.
a lot of people didn't like it, which I was
I
reading
mean,
because
it got nominated for a couple Golden Globes, which I was happy to see because, frankly, to be nominated for any award as a sequel is tough.
yeah, I mean everybody was just pretty much saying it was a copycat of the first one, which we went over that and said that too. But yeah, so I was just
I
curious.
mean, yeah, I mean, I don't, which I don't honestly, I don't even. Well, I get again the whole wife being killed thing was a copycat, but the rest of it wasn't. So I don't really agree with that overall statement. I think that one part, and you touched on it in our episode where you were worried that that's what they were going to do, but it actually isn't really about that. It's more the politics and stuff. So I thought it was fine. I thought it was good.
But yeah, and Nosferatu too, just plot wise. I mean, the only other thing that really happened was Orlok, released the plague on this town, this little German town,
That's the other thing that's
and
confusing.
that was kind of all that was going on.
I was confused about that too because I'm like, is it a plague or is it a demon plague? But I think it's both, right? I think there was just a lot of hard things to kind of follow. There was a lot going on. Well, sorry, there wasn't a lot going on, but there was a lot of not a lot of clarity, I guess, on what. And there's a lot of moving around and scenes, fever dreams, and then you're back to real life again.
Dude, everyone had malaria. It was like one of those. It was like one of those. Yeah, and you know what I didn't like? No garlic.
No garlic, no wooden steak either. An iron steak, no
Yeah,
wooden steak,
no wooden
no
steak.
garlic,
No garlic.
no garlic,
No fucking crossbow.
no
Where's the cross?
barely any crosses in general.
Yeah,
Which that's weird for
true.
a vampire movie. There was at one point when he was when William Dafoe was doing an exorcism, he kind of held out like I think a little cross, but very not like huge wooden ones that we're carrying around. Yeah, but I think honestly, most of what we're not complaining about, most of what we're calling out here, I think is a result of just the writing of this genre. I don't think it's a reflection of a poor movie. I just think it's the genre itself just
No,
created
and I wouldn't
this.
say, like
So
I wouldn't say it was. I wouldn't say it was bad either. Would I watch it again? Probably not. There's like a few good jumps, a couple good jump scares, but overall, the I thought the tension was okay, but nothing like crazy. It wasn't even really creepy to me, especially after because they unveiled what Count Orlok looked like pretty early on as well.
I think the
Actually, in like
reason
the opening scene, they showed
Yeah,
it.
I mean, that part was okay because I think he in and of himself was creepy looking. I thought that was spot on, but the creep factor was missing, and this is my opinion. I think the creep factor was missing because she was just a horny, roused up girl who was into it. So he wasn't he wasn't really raping her, or not. I mean, not that we want to see that, guys. I'm gonna be really clear here, but there wasn't
Yeah, don't say the R
there
word.
wasn't like she wasn't hesitating. In fact, spoiler, when you get to the end, she's really into it. So it for other reasons, but like, yeah, that's why it wasn't like there was a lot of I mean, in fact, he says she has to come to me on her own will. That's the whole
Right,
thing. So
dude.
yeah,
Dude. Talk about forward thinking, progressive. I mean, he was getting consent, dude. He was getting consent from her, Nicholas Holt.
her
They were
husband,
all
he's getting people signing stuff.
Everybody was down. The only person that wasn't down was Aaron Taylor. Is it Aaron Taylor Johnson? I think.
I think so.
We're gonna go ahead and make his name initials.
Yeah, A.T. Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah,
See how much
A-
better that sounds? A.T. Johnson? Yeah, you are correct, by the way. That is
yeah. He was making me laugh just because
he was actually the funniest
he
part of the movie.
he was losing his mind at all the fucking hippy dippy vampire bullshit.
Dude, it was actually good to see him because other than Craven, I actually have never seen him in anything because I don't watch
Did you
a
see
lot of
Bullet Train?
TV. I did see Bullet Train. Where was he? What was he in?
He was the
Who was he in
hitman.
that?
It was him and the black guy who were the two
He was
hitmen.
he was oh, that was him?
Yeah.
He looks so small next to that giant guy in that movie.
Tread lightly.
Yeah, big big man, the big British man,
Big guy.
a black man with the frosted tips. Now
Also,
I see it.
he was great too. I could watch that movie
That movie
over
is
and over again.
extremely underrated. That movie.
Great
But
movie.
actually, it's funny. I didn't know that was him because I saw that movie without knowing who he was. So, but he was good in that movie, though. Now that I'm remembering that character, those two characters together in that movie were awesome.
Yeah, they were great. Brad Pitt was great too. Anytime he's in a comedic role, he fucking just nails it.
Can you see my screen right now?
Yeah.
I'm doing a screen share. This is what we're talking about, guys. Still experimenting with the tech, but yeah, that's him, Aaron Taylor Johnson, also known as Craven. But look, he looks small compared to this guy, and in Craven, he looks like this big guy. So,
well, yeah, he took a whole fuck ton of steroids and got ridiculously jacked.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Anyway. I'm like, dude, I might just do a couple of cycles of steroids, dude. Just like one or two. And then get off it. Just quit.
That sounds terrible. Sounds like a terrible idea.
One or two rounds, and then you're off it, and then you're good. Just to get a base. Just to get a baseline.
Well, we start with creatine. We'll see. We'll go from there.
Dude, I'm on the. I've been. That's something. I've been on the creatine. I got back on.
Really?
I'm on the teen.
I didn't know you were ever on the creatine.
Yeah, I mean it's been a long time, but
never seen you weigh more than 119 pounds soaking wet. So,
Dude,
You're on the
one
teen?
155 right now.
That's my goal weight.
Really?
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. Like that I'd have to be shredded to be at 155, but that's like my goal weight, yeah. 160 is like the sweet spot for someone with my size, I guess, like age and stuff. But I'd like to be in the 150s. I've done it once. I got to 159 last year.
Well, dude, that Norovirus, I dropped a good 8 pounds.
Did you get sick?
Yeah, dude, I was fucked up for like 5 days.
Like after New Year's or what?
No, it was like right before Christmas. It was like the weekend before Christmas. It was bad, dude. I was
sorry, man.
Yeah.
Glad you're
I mean,
better.
I don't know if I for sure had norovirus, but that's what ChatGPT said. So I'm going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean the
Well,
symptoms. All 5 symptoms were like nail on the head.
Well, you can ask our sister. She had norovirus, and she was she was throwing up everywhere for
Yeah, dude.
hours on end.
Dude, every 20 minutes it was not. And then because I had so much acid I was throwing up. I don't know, burned my esophagus or something because I couldn't eat I couldn't swallow, so I couldn't eat anything either. It was fucking
Well, so that's what stinks this week, huh? Because you're the norovirus.
Yeah, I went out on a bang. The year went out on a bang for sure. But by New Year's, I was good.
Yeah,
by
you were solid then.
Yeah, I was solid by then.
So let's transition off of Nosferatu and talk a little current events. I would love to hear. Oh, hold on. Too many buttons to click. Current events. We got Justin Baldini and Blake Lively throwing punches, throwing barbs with Ryan Reynolds ringside, trying to keep his good image. It's getting dicey out there, dude.
There's a lawsuit.
I know.
He's
countersuing.
We're talking lawsuits. I don't know who's. I think Baldini. What's his name? Baldini.
Justin Baldini. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's definitely suing. I think.
Yeah, he's countersuing, or he's suing them.
I think he's suing Variety, the magazine,
and them, and Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively for defamation of character. Yeah.
Yeah. So what? Can you explain what happened on set? What caused? I saw the movie. Actually, funny. I saw the movie.
So that's the only reason why I'm even remotely interested in this, because frankly, I don't care too much for Hollywood gossip. But Jamie watched this movie, and my wife did, and I happened to kind of like catch the second half of it. And I mean, it's a fairly hypersex movie, but there's just a lot of trauma in it too. But yeah, so the accusations from Blake Lively's side is that Justin Baldini did all sorts of inappropriate behavior on set, was objectifying her in a multitude of ways, like saying, the sex scenes weren't, like she wasn't dressed sexy enough or looking sexy enough or things like that. And among other things, you guys can read all of the stuff that, you can go TMZ this stuff and Google it yourself. But there's a lot of basically inappropriate behavior and that kind of stuff. But then also saying that he was doing things like coming into her trailer while she was breastfeeding and with explicit
that's what I
things
saw.
not to. But this guy came with receipts. He's got text message screenshots of her saying like, "Come in, I'm pumping. It's okay." Like all sorts of receipts he's got. And so that's why he's suing. And I saw a little clip from his lawyer, his attorney, who was like, "We got everything. So Justin's coming for you," kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I guess he's also the producer. Justin Baldini is the producer of the film, Baldini Productions or something like that. So
it was either that or he directed it.
Directed or produced it or both. Here, I'll pull that up. So that's the thing, is there was a bunch of accusations, Baldoni, excuse me, that he's not only refuting, but he's going, the thing you said I did, I 100% didn't do. And I have a text message that proves I didn't do it. So it seems odd.
That is wild.
Justin Baldini's attorney says Blake Lively complaint is because she didn't read the book. I said, this is Brian Friedman, who is the attorney
singer
for Justin Baldoni, and also Megyn Kelly, by the way, is apparently who did the interview. Says that she didn't know what it ends with us. Yeah, she's tells Megyn Kelly the actress didn't know what It Ends With Us was about while breaking down her sexual harassment allegations. So, long story short, she's accusing him of all these sexual harassment things, which that's the irony of it. If you see the movie, that's a lot of what the movie is about. It's a lot of kind of that kind of thing, abuse or
Domestic
perceived
violence.
abuse, domestic
Yeah.
violence, or kind of filming it in like a very, I think they were going for a very relatable way, like this happens more often than you think kind of thing, and there's perception involved kind of deal. And then there's really bad things that happen too because of that. So overall, I thought the movie was actually pretty good, generally speaking.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw the second like the last 60% of it.
Yeah, me too. That's hilarious. I literally saw
Yeah.
like the last.
I
I
saw
watched.
the part right when he burns her when she tries to help him out of the oven and he like turns around and like accidentally smacks her, you know.
Yeah, I mean, uh, I'll say this for the movie. It was for all this to be going on is pretty crazy because it could have been on Lifetime Channel or Hallmark.
The
Definitely on
movie?
Hallmark. Yeah, like it was not like anything crazy. Your ground. It's it wasn't Oppenheimer.
No,
So
I
it's
mean
just
no.
like
I mean the only reason it's getting any coverage at all, and I think this is part of the whole thing, is because she's in it. That's it.
yeah. Well, I mean,
I've never heard of Justin Baldoni before today. Before this, never heard
no,
of him.
me either. But I have heard for a
He's
long
loving
time.
this.
I've heard for a long time that Blake Lively is the worst.
So it's interesting. Yeah, I
I don't
think
know
I don't know. I'm
why. I have no
assuming.
idea. I don't know why, but I've always heard that about her.
Well, and I've never followed. Again, I don't follow the Hollywood rag stuff, so to speak. But yeah, I
And
mean, there's
just based off reading the comments on this story, if you read the comments, everyone's just like, "Fuck Blake Lively, fuck Ryan." And people are really. There's a lot of people who will be happy to see Ryan Reynolds go down if he does.
right. Which
And
that's
I heard,
disappointing.
yeah, but I've heard the same about him too. So I don't know. But they're all fucking dude. They're all
Yeah,
they live in Hollywood. They're all assholes.
this is why we don't talk about it because we kind of know the score in Hollywood, right? It's a very few, very short, select list of names that are going to skate away, without a legacy being tainted. It's a very small list, extremely small.
And especially now,
Yeah,
you're
right.
you're fucked. You're
Yeah,
fucked.
and it's getting worse because people are caught onto it now, so now they're looking for
Dude,
it, right? So,
do you remember that tirade that Tom Cruise went on during COVID?
of course, yeah, when he freaked out on the set, he was, yeah,
I listened to that the other day. It came on my timeline. I was like, Jesus Christ.
the only reason he got away with this because everyone already knew he was an asshole. So, like, Tom Cruise is like he just does whatever he wants to do, and he doesn't care.
No, but it's like,
People already know going in that he's like that kind of guy. But yeah, that was crazy. That ran, yeah, when he was yelling at, I mean, he's yelling at like crew guys, like
dude,
it's crazy.
yeah, dude, he was like,
so
it was
spit
like,
coming out of his mouth, ironically.
to me, like, it seemed like it was a room full of people, but he was only directing all of that to like two guys in the room. So he was just
Like a
ripping,
teacher yelling at the bad student.
dude, while everyone else is just watching these guys just get absolutely fucking I mean, he turned into Rex Grossman. Or
Les Grossman.
not the quarterback, not the Chicago Bears quarterback.
He did not turn into Rex Grossman. Les Grossman. Yes. Tropic Thunder. God, what is, speaking of movies that would never be made today.
But like, so I'm sure, especially in Hollywood, people would call that what he did as abuse. I'm sure there's people out there.
Sure now. Yeah.
So it's like, you just, every set's different too. But yeah, I don't know. The whole thing's fucking messy. But a lot of, from what I can gather, again, from just reading the comments, like a lot of people are really happy to see Blake Lively
Yeah.
wrapped up in all this. Like people are.
Yeah.
They're
Apparently
not
there's
fans.
a lot of
People are not fans.
No, there's a lot of other women in Hollywood too.
It's all women.
Who hate her. Yeah.
That's the fun. Yeah, that's the other thing too. It's all women. But I'm surprised the fucking movie came out. Like he's just like, he's like, yeah, we're gonna finish this after
Well, I mean,
I guess
you got to think they got millions of dollars invested in it, so you have to finish it because you got. I mean, that's the thing about shooting productions like this. Once investors are in and the production companies, and they're like, very rarely are they just going to be like, oh, we're going to piss away 25 million or whatever it is. It's like a
Yeah,
lot more
but
than that.
it's a Netflix movie, right?
It is, but here, let's
So
see what the budget was.
the money's already gone because they're not they're not selling tickets or making. I don't even know how. I don't. Netflix doesn't make money either, so I don't know how the whole thing works.
Well, no, it was it was released in theater in
Okay.
August.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I was freaking. What did I say? How much did I say? 20. What did I say? 20 something
What?
million? When I said the budget, when I said they don't want to blow 20 something million, I just pulled that number out of the air.
It was
I
exactly.
just Googled it now. It's 25 million is the budget of that movie. And it's already grossed 351 million
Jesus Christ.
worldwide.
What? That can't be right.
Yeah, that's right. It ends with us, right? That's the name? Yeah.
That's
Blake Lively.
That's
That's
mind blowing.
blows your mind, right? Yeah.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Comic book movies aren't making that now. And these lawsuit numbers are hilarious too because I think he's suing Variety for like $150 million. I mean, sure, I get it because I mean these are like serious allegations. So it's like get your money, player. I'm not mad at you, but that's a lot of fucking money.
Well, if he gets
I could have
wrecked in
that
Hollywood,
wrong.
he never works again, right? So he has to stand up and
Which is hilarious because that's not even true. You get promoted out there. You don't, dude. Roman Polanski raped a kid and they gave him a fucking Oscar, and he had to fucking run away to Italy or wherever the fuck he.
Yeah, that's a
Hold
wild story. Well, actually, dude, that's so crazy that you brought up Roman Polanski because I have a side. But real quick, just to wrap this up, yeah, generally I get what you're saying, but what I mean by
But once you get caught though, once you get caught, they're like, yeah, we're all eyes are cut.
Right, exactly. It can't just be like, especially something of this magnitude when it's sexual allegations.
Well, especially
like this.
After Harvey Weinstein went down too, that was kind of
Right.
the end of anybody really getting away with that like long term. Like
Right.
no one's. He did Wilt Chamberlain numbers. Like no one's getting away with it for that long anymore.
Well, I don't think. I mean, nowadays, well, I think, and this is rightfully so, and this is 100% the great thing. Well, now women are empowered. Now they're not going to put up with it. So if you're a female actress, like before you had to, like you couldn't get roles, like you just did whatever they told you. Now you don't have to do that because you just tell them I'm not doing that shit, and then they report you. So I'm sure it still happens, and like smaller directors and things like that. But if you're a big name, you're not getting away with that like Weinstein did.
Been following the Fox Sports 1 story?
No, what?
Yeah, the fucking Fox Sports 1 dude is having this huge scandal because this girl named Joy Taylor, who I think is Jason Taylor's sister, the football player, she was basically sleeping with everybody. The head exec, some of the on-air talent, and then
she's just a talk show host for Fox Sports for FS1, right?
Yeah, she's on some of the shows. And then Skip Bayless got accused of offering a hairdresser. This hairdresser who worked at FS1, she's the one with the lawsuit. She's suing FS1, but in the lawsuit, it came out because she was friends with Joy Taylor because she was doing her hair and makeup and shit. So she outed Joy Taylor on all that shit, and then apparently Skip Bayless offered this hairdresser $1.5 million to sleep with him, which is great. It's an insane amount of money.
What?
Yes, dude. That's what the lawsuit is saying, which is fucking crazy. So,
dude,
not only is Skip Bayless getting sued, but all this stuff about Joy Taylor sleeping with like the head exec. And by the way, while she was married or engaged, one of the two. It was one of the two.
Of course.
Yeah. So anyways, so it is still it's 100% still happening, but with Joy Taylor, it obviously seemed consensual, but.
That's what I'm saying. The consensual stuff is a totally different story then. But I mean, that's what makes the whole Me Too movement so complex because yes, it was quid pro quo, right? Like, but if you feel like you have no choice, to move your career up,
right.
The whole thing is it's messy. It's messy at best.
Yeah, because how many times does it start consensual and then things go south and then all of a sudden it's not consensual? And that's the other thing too. In this lawsuit, Joy, the hairdresser, alleges that Joy Taylor said if things were to go south, she was ready to say that the head exec forced himself onto her if she had to.
Of course.
How crazy! She basically admitted that she was going to
That's
try
not
and
good for the movement.
no,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Oh
anyway,
man, crazy.
yeah. The movie was dog shit, and it's just hilarious that all of this has come from a $25 million movie. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was dog shit, but it definitely wasn't nothing special. I mean, it was just fine.
Yeah, I mean
I'm
that's
not a
something.
Blake, but you know what's funny is I'm not a Blake Lively fan. Like from a general, like guys obsessed with her kind of beauty kind of thing. I've never. She's not on my top 10 celebrity crush list. So I've never. It's not even in my top 20. So I've
Well,
never been obsessed with Blake Lively at all. That was before I knew that she might have an attitude problem. So who
if
knows?
you have read any of Ryan Reynolds' tweets, she's just the most hilarious person in the entire world because that's how
what he
he.
says every time.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's always a joke about Blake and how awesome Blake
Yeah.
is, how silly Blake is. Yeah,
And you
so.
know what? Maybe those two together, maybe they're fine. I mean, I think maybe their relationship is great.
It's funnier. It's funnier to think of them too, though, at the house just being absolute demons, just horrible, horrible people.
I really hope. That at least there's some good in them. I really hope, but we'll see. I mean, they got 2 kids and stuff. I'm not rooting for them to be drunk through the freaking mud. But again, I don't know what they've done. I know that Baldini, it's Baldoni. Baldoni also that he's accusing Ryan Reynolds of berating him on set too, which it's like, why
TJ
are you
Miller,
on set?
TJ
Get off my
Miller
set.
on the set of Deadpool, he said the same thing. He did the same thing to
Right.
him.
I did hear about that. You told me about that.
Yeah.
Which
So
coming from these are all people where it's like, they're
they don't have
not
the
Ryan
career,
Reynolds, so
of course,
yeah,
and
yeah,
TJ Miller is a psycho too. So
right. He's got some question marks.
well, he called
in
in
the brain.
a bomb threat on a train because some girl didn't want to sleep with him. So he's got some demons in there too.
Because he did not have $1.5 million to offer. Well, okay. So you mentioned Roman Polanski, and I'm going to use this as my "What Stinks This Week" segment because I don't really have any like incidents that are. And so I'm trying to think why this happened.
That's great.
or how this happened.
Incident free since the new year. That's awesome.
Yeah, I guess so.
Me too.
Yeah, good. But somehow the other day I was on my walk and I'm really trying to figure out why this came up. But I went down the rabbit hole on Charles Manson and the Manson family. Just went down the rabbit hole, which I have done some of this before years ago, but we went down the rabbit hole again in length.
Welcome to the party.
Lost about an hour and 10 minutes. Is like my whole walk. I walked 3.5 miles and read like just about everything you can read on his thing.
Brother, that's not a
Dude,
loss.
It's not fun. It's not a fun read. I'll tell you that. But it does tie in. It's fascinating. It ties into Hollywood, obviously, a little bit because of the Sharon Tate thing, who was promising up and coming actress and was living at Roman Polanski's house. But so it sounds like you've done your rabbit hole research on this, so you're pretty familiar with this.
Yeah.
Story.
So.
Dude, the things that happened in the 60s and 70s. So my takeaway from going down the rabbit hole of the Manson family stuff and all was not like really about Manson at all or any of the I mean, it was, but it was more like the things that people did back then, the trust that they had with people it's bananas. Like the whole thing where Charles, for those of you who don't know, like Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys somehow gets roped in to the Manson family because he picks up 2 girls hitchhiking. And they just happen to be part of Manson's family. He brings them to his house because that's what, rock stars do. And I'm sure he was, trying to get a little, from these hitchhiking girls that were probably cute because that was Manson's whole thing. He was picking up, vulnerable, cute chicks and putting them in his cult. But he took him to his, I'm the Beach Boys guy, take him to his house on Sunset Boulevard. They leave. He goes to a recording session, comes back. They're all in his house. I just want to set that there. He leaves his private residence on Sunset Boulevard, comes home, and there's hippies in his house. How did they get in there? I wonder.
Well, they didn't lock the doors.
And yeah, how did they get onto his property again? Like I understand when he brought them in, did he? And I'm always like, is there more to the story? Did he tell them they could come back anytime, or like what? Like crazy, like to just come back home and they're all and Manson's. I mean, obviously he doesn't know that Manson is Manson yet at this point, but he's on his property and they're all just hanging out at his Hollywood house.
Yeah. And then
Anyway,
Manson,
picking up hitchhikers, letting free, random hippies into your home. They were all doing tons of drugs, like crazy. It's crazy.
I think that Manson kind of got a Hitlered because he was trying to make music, and I think he was using the Beach Boy guy as kind of his in, and he like sent him, I think, his demo or whatever, and like this is dog shit, and then he was just like ultimate went demon mode.
No, it wasn't even that. He was already a psycho before that, but he
He
Brian
was trying
Wilson,
to make music though.
No, he was a musician, whatever, and that's why the girls introduced him to Charles Manson. But no, the story goes is he's uncredited on the song that they took from him. They did take a song, renamed it.
Probably a good idea.
I can't remember the details. They renamed the song, and he was uncredited because he sold the song to Brian Wilson for $100,000 worth of stuff. That's the terminology. So that's why he's uncredited. So they didn't steal it from him. He basically Manson traded him for stuff, which I'm assuming
he bartered.
Drugs or he bartered as either drugs or who knows, like maybe just electronics. Who knows? I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, dude, like crazy.
It was a wild time.
There's
dude,
hitchhikers and drugs, and I mean they're shooting nuts.
Yeah, fucking Roman Polanski just beat bopping around town, going to the Playboy Mansion. Yeah, it was fucking crazy.
And then you got Phil Kaufman, who is the producer of all these guys, and then years later he shoots his own wife. Like,
I forgot
crazy.
About that. Yeah. Well, yeah. And especially when you get into the fact that the CIA might have been involved with Manson and the whole MK Ultra project and all that other crazy shit. Yeah, it gets pretty nuts, dude.
Yeah, like, well, I guess it was the CIA. Yeah, the CIA at least funded this like experiment, right? Where that guy, who I forget his name, but he was like literally watching the family do drugs and do prostitution for like his own experimentation.
Yeah, I think what they were doing was they were experimenting
LSD
with LSD. Yeah, and just basically frying people's brain. I think Whitey Bulger, the Boston gangster, was also a part of that too, and that's why he was fucking crazy. Yeah, pretty wild stuff.
I was
gonna say Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a great movie for all of this. If you're
do they talk about all this stuff?
That's what the whole thing's about.
Well, I had no idea. You would never know that from the previews.
It's all about it's about Sharon Tate. Yeah, but I
had no idea.
Oh yeah, it's fucking all about Sharon Tate and the whole thing. Roman Polanski, all that shit.
Wow. Okay. I guess I really need to see that movie because you've told me to watch it like 10 times and I just never.
Yeah, we gotta fucking watch that.
Okay, we'll do that maybe together then.
It's fucking great.
But yeah, so I went down that rabbit hole and I can't believe the way things were back then, just in general, everywhere. I mean, in like growing up in our generation, like in the 80s, there was still a lot of kidnappings, but oh my God, in the 60s and 70s, the type of things that were going down. And like you read his whole Wikipedia thing, like all the stuff. And here's the thing I can't figure out, going through all the crimes and everything he did and all that. And I'm assuming it was through prostitution is how he was getting his money. I'm assuming, but he's leasing ranches. He's got a Hollywood apartment. He's got all this stuff. And the guy is not doing anything. He's not working at all.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming his money's coming from the girls, but they don't really explicitly say that in the Wikipedia files. So.
He was basically like the Tony Robbins or Gary Vaynerchuk of his time. He didn't do shit. He just
didn't do anything.
He just got people to come to his seminars and basically he must have been the coolest guy in the world.
They're not. There are no seminars. Like he's in a bus. He's just like he's homeless for like a good part of like his early following. Yeah, it's bananas, dude. I cannot wrap my head around it.
But that whole, like, counterculture, like, rebellion shit was I mean, that was the coolest
Yeah,
fucking thing to people back then. So
exactly.
this guy who was just homeless and he's like, "Fuck it, I don't give a fuck." People are like,
Right,
"That is so fucking cool, bro."
right. Yeah.
And
They're
especially
like,
you mix that with acid, you're just like, yeah.
totally, and any sort of charm, and I think he was generally before he got older, he was generally a good looking guy, kind of too. So you wouldn't know it like from the pictures you see, but like early, if you look at his early pictures, like dude, he was the other crazy thing about his story. You look, I mean, just like every psychopath and whatever you want to call him, like his upbringing, insane. At 13, he escaped a boys' school because he was getting raped there by like staff and whatever. So he escapes the boys' school at 13, leaves. This is in the 40s, okay, in the 90s. He leaves and sleeps under bridges and on trains and shit, like you see in the old movies. 13 years old. 13 years old. He's on his own, just running the countryside, like it's sleeping under trains and stuff, and then finds his way back home.
He had the
Like it's insane.
he had the stick with the rag
The
on the back
stick
of
with the
it.
rag, yeah, it's just crazy.
What did that ever carry, by the way?
I think just your underwear.
That
I don't
could
know.
carry one item at most.
Well, you could get a few things in there.
I don't know, dude.
Depends on the size of the handkerchief, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah,
man, like I
fucking
was reading
wild.
that too, and like his whole upbringing, like it's not a mystery how he got there. But he tried to be normal for like a little bit, but it just never. I mean, he never had a chance. Like never. His mom had him at 15 and was drinking and drunk immediately. Just bananas.
It's just yeah, and it's weird. It's just like did people just get worse over time to now like it's just impossible to live like that again because the trust is just it's so far gone at this point.
Yes,
But it's like people were doing heinous shit back then too. I don't know if are people doing
they
more
weren't getting
heinous,
caught. That's what it was. They weren't getting caught.
but I mean obviously there wasn't enough heinous shit going around for people to be like, "Hey, we should start locking our doors." I mean, not until later, till like the 90s. And even in the 90s, even in
No, I don't. I don't think it was so much that, dude. I think that I think there's two things going on. This is my theory on this. This is fascinating. The first is news didn't spread like it does now. You couldn't communicate. So if you were living out in the country, I can only imagine the amount of heinous shit that was actually happening in small towns that you will never hear about all the time,
sure.
that we never knew about because who's going to tell you? There's a population of 60 people there. Like you just kill them
Well,
all.
yeah, and that's a I mean, especially with serial killers too, like they literally weren't getting caught because just for the simple fact that sheriff's departments weren't communicating with each other. And if they just had called each other or one phone call, most of these guys would have been caught a long time ago, but they just did not fucking communicate at all.
Right.
They're like,
Yeah.
whatever happens, we have our jurisdiction. Whatever happens outside of that, they were not fucking talking until the
Right.
serial killer epidemic and shit started happening.
And then even when they were talking, the communication was so slow. I mean, you could kill 16 people before you got the telegram across the state line. So, but I just think, I mean, there's a billion reasons why, but I think heinous stuff was happening a lot. I just think there was just no catching it, and by the time that you discovered it, they're gone. They're long gone. You don't know who
Dude,
they are.
the fucking Night Stalker took out 18 people in LA just by
And this was in the late 80s, right?
90s. Just
This was in the 90s.
yeah, in the 90s.
Yeah, because I was pretty scared. I remember hearing about it, and I was pretty scared.
Dude, literally just because people he literally did all that just by getting in through open windows and open doors.
I know. It was terrifying, dude.
This one lady literally she was at this grandma, she was at a family dinner and her granddaughter told her, she's like, "Grandma, make sure you go home and lock your window." And she was like, "I'm not doing that. I shouldn't," the old school mentality of I don't have to, I'm not going to
Really?
live it. She was like, "I'm not going to live in fear." That's what she said. And then literally that night, got a visit from the old night stalky.
That's crazy. How'd you hear about that?
It was in the
The
documentary.
documentary?
It was on Netflix. It's fucking bomb if you haven't seen it. It's a good
See,
ass
I can't
documentary.
I can't watch them because as fascinated as I am with them, it would give me nightmare. I can't do it. Like even reading it gives me the heebie. I'm looking at the picture right now of Richard Ramirez and his driving. It's insane.
Oh, he's
So
terrifying.
yeah, like the fact that it's like
He's Nosferatu.
yeah,
He's literally Nosferatu.
yeah, the fact that was going on in the 90s is nuts
Dude,
because yeah, crazy.
after like 6 people, you would think everyone's like Okay, and it was all in the same area. And you would think
It
people
was
are like,
the Bay Area. It was all up and down 99. It was Los Angeles all the way up until San Francisco. That's when I remember it kind of made news locally, and I kind of started getting freaked out because it was like
and
getting close to us.
he killed a couple people in Texas as well
Really?
before he moved to
Oh
LA.
yeah,
But the main killing spree was in LA, like pretty much around the same
right,
area, and like people were
right.
still just like, no, we're gonna leave our fucking windows up. Dude, he was getting everybody, kids. He had killed 2 80-year-old women. Had no. They were the police department down there were perplexed, to say the least, dude. They had
Yeah,
no
they couldn't even profile him. They're like, I don't even know what this is.
No, they finally got a shoe print, and the method, like, he would pretty much shoot everybody. So that was really the only pattern they had. But other than that, dude, like
What was the pattern?
the fact that he was mostly shooting people, but he was also he would sometimes stab you, sometimes
Dude,
strangle
he
you.
took this 9-year-old Chinese girl in San Francisco and strangled, raped her, and then stabbed her to death with a switchblade, and then hung her body
Yeah,
on a pipe. A
yeah.
9-year-old. He did
He,
all those things to a 9-year-old.
he cut some other lady's eyes out. Yeah, he was a fucking demon.
That was actually his first murder. Was the 9-year-old child in San Francisco.
Interesting.
We're way off the beaten path. This is sorry guys. It is tangentially related to Hollywood because it was happening in the Hollywood area. We're at an hour and 5 minutes. Wow, we're way off. Mostly movies.
You fucking did it, dude. An hour 6 minutes on Nosferatu. Come on.
Go check us out, guys. TheScreenGods.com. Follow us on YouTube at Screen Gods, on TikTok at Screen Gods. We're on Facebook, Screen Gods, all those things. And I'll try to get a review up soon. We got a ton of movie reviews on there from the ones we've seen already in the past 6 months. More to come. 2025 is going to be a good year for movies. It's going to be a lot of good ones.
I know. Well, we'll have to discuss that too. Our most anticipated next week.
That's good content for next week. Yeah, let's do that. And then next week, we're going to be seeing, Christian doesn't know this yet, so I'm just going to drop it on him now. We're going to be seeing a movie called Homestead next week. Jamie, my wife, she was like, I want to see this movie. I said, great. Let's see that next week. It's got Neil McDonough, who is the blue-eyed nice guy in every movie, or he plays the villain in every movie. You know who Neil McDonough is?
I sure the fuck do, but I can't.
Yeah,
I can't get the face.
Look him up. You'll know, as soon as you see it, you're gonna be like, oh my God, he's the guy that's in every movie. Not that other guy you told me about, Scoot.
Dude,
Scoot McNeary.
Scoot McNeary's in every movie, bro. Whether you know it or not.
Never seen him before.
I just saw him I saw him the other day.
You are such a liar.
I'm not lying. I swear to God I did.
Damn liar.
I'm not lying.
Anyway, did you pull up Neil McDonough?
Yes, he was in Walking Tall with The Rock.
Yep.
Which I watched
he plays the villain there.
Times. Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's also in Suits. He was in Yellowstone. He plays similar roles. Quick thing I was just telling Jamie about, I reminded her of this. I like him because in Hollywood, we talk about nice guys in Hollywood. He has a thing where people were like, he always plays the same kind of roles. And there was partly a reason for that. He will not kiss or do any love scenes with any women as part of his contract because of his respect to his wife. So that's why a lot of his roles, he kind of tends to play the villain or stuff like that because he's not going to do any love scenes.
I did know that about him too, and I think he says that's why he didn't get a lot of roles. I'm like, I don't know about that, but maybe.
I mean, and that's okay as long as he knows it. Like, yeah, I'm sure that is why.
I don't blame him though, because if you're Scarlett Johansson's husband, Colin Jost, if you're Colin Jost and you got to watch that going on, it's rough. That's just an example.
Or if you're Blake Lively's husband.
True. Yeah.
Anyway, all right, guys. With that, are we done?
I think that's it. We fucking did it, dude.
All right. So don't waste your time going to see Nosferatu. Just you can watch it at home.
Watch it when it comes out.
You don't need to see that in theater.
No.
All right, gang.
We'll see you next week.
The Screen Gods, we're out. Bye.